Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I want to talk about Mercury retrograde. Here we have Mercury going retrograde for the second time this year. Remember that Mercury goes retrograde approximately 3, sometimes 4 times a year. So every time it does, everything that Mercury rules pretty much goes haywire. So we're going to talk about that. Plus, the sign that it's retrograding in is monumental as to the effects we're going to be experiencing. But before I go further, please remember you can sign up for my free newsletter on galacticcenter.org, and there you will get all my predictions every week delivered to your email address. And on top of that, while you're at my website, galacticcenter.org, don't forget to check out my beautiful spiritual malas and earrings. And furthermore, we have a lot of exciting things coming up here very soon. I want you to go to my website and check all these things out. Especially, we're going to be starting a brand new class for the University of Vedic Astrology. This is going to be happening in the first week of July. So check it out. You don't want to miss out on all of the new classes and excitement that's happening at UVA. So check that out as well. University of Vedic Astrology.com. Now, continuing on with this current Mercury retrograde, well, Mercury will go retrograde on the 10th of May, and it will stay retrograde till June 3rd. So May 10th to June 3rd, Mercury is retrograde, but those days that it turns retrograde, as well as the day on June 3rd that it turns direct, are the most intense days. And some people use those days for anything that Mercury rules, because that's when Mercury is stationing. Stationing means when a planet is changing from retrograde to direct or direct to retrograde, it pretty much stands still. And that is monumental. Why? Because it empowers that planet. So when Mercury does turn retrograde on the 10th of May, it will be at 10 degrees of Taurus. Then when it turns direct, it's going to be at 2 degrees of Taurus. So the whole retrograde is taking place in the sign of Taurus. And for those of you that have planets in Taurus, this will be a big Mercury retrograde for you. So we always talk about the planets don't actually go retrograde, but in the process of the movement of the planets rotating around the sun, when we appear to pass, that's when it appears to go retrograde, although everything is always moving forward. So it's from our vantage point. And retrograde means Mercury will be the planet that's the focus, because it is going a different direction. And Mercury rules everything to do with our mental cognitive thinking, how we process information in our thinking process. It deals with all forms of communication, how we get information across to people and get things across to people, because it rules travels as well. So it rules travels as well as it rules any form of communication, and I think you're pretty well aware that involves telephones, computers, the internet, social media. This is all forms of communication. It's so important. We have to stay connected. And another way we stay connected is through traveling. So all these things kind of go haywire. Get your computer backed up and just be prepared when you travel that there will be delays, setbacks, probably mechanicals. Mercury does rule mechanical things as well, how things are connected and put together, and especially computers. So that has a lot to do with travel, delays, problems, because when computers go down, everything's affected. So another thing, because it rules computers and communications, watch how things will get misconstrued. Even in the media is ruled by Mercury because it is information. And with it being in Taurus, there are some very interesting stars in this portion of the zodiac. Now, when Mercury turns retrograde at 10 degrees Taurus, it will be in the nakshatra called Rohini, but just very, very shortly, because Rohini starts at 10 degrees of Taurus. And Mercury, of course, is going to go backwards in the sign all the way down to 2 degrees of Taurus. And so for the most part, it's going to be in the nakshatra Kritika. And Kritika is a very sharp nakshatra. It deals with, well, its symbol is a razor or a knife. So things will cut to the chase, get to the core of the problem, and people will be very angry. This is a pretty angry nakshatra, even though it's ruled by the sun. But let me just say this, where Mercury is going, well, for one thing, Taurus. Taurus is all about money and finances. Taurus is also about, well, let's just say food, everything to do that is with the earth. Because, you know, we grow our food. So there could be some problems, and even, I hate to say it, but the price of food could escalate higher. Mainly because there's a probability that things won't be able to be shipped so easy, because you know what I've mentioned many times before, during this time period, as Jupiter and Neptune are in Pisces, many planets are coming together with Neptune and Jupiter. And Neptune rules oil and gas, so expect the prices of fuel to escalate, causing major problems and setbacks with the prices of food. So even everything to do with the markets is going to shift. Watch how the markets shift when Mercury goes retrograde, as well as when it goes direct, because this is where things change. And the way we think and what we believe, it will change when Mercury changes directions. So this entire year of 2022, Mercury is going to retrograde in the element of earth signs. That is how it always works. Every year, it will retrograde in the same element. 3 times a year. So it will always be in 2022, it's going to always be in earth signs. The first retrograde of Mercury we had this year was in Capricorn, earth sign. This retrograde is in Taurus, earth sign. The last retrograde, which will take place in October, the end of October, it will be in Virgo. So you see, it's always in, Virgo, and it's always going to be in the same element. So that's important to recognize and know, because this element of earth does deal with the material plane. It deals with finances, it deals with money, and it deals with work. So many issues around this are going to come up, especially in Taurus, because Taurus is if I could say, it is the second sign. So therefore, it's relative to the second house in astrology, which is the house of what? Money, being able to provide for ourselves. And everything to do with money is going to be crazy while Mercury's retrograde. Now let me get into some further details about this portion of the zodiac, because in the nakshatra Kritika, it is in the Pleiades. And the Pleiades is a very, very interesting portion of the zodiac. It deals with the weeping sisters. And in Vedic astrology, it's been said that the weeping sisters, the reason why they were weeping is they were falsely accused of not being faithful to their husbands. And this created such a sadness and deepness about tears. And I must say, in this portion of the zodiac where Mercury is going to station at 2 degrees of Taurus, is going to be conjunct the most difficult, they call it demonic star of all, Agol. Agol is said to relate to decapitation, cutting off the head, and most will agree with me that literally it could mean something like this, but figuratively it means someone that is losing their head. So they lose their mind, their head, the emotional off the top, the weeping sisters. All of this portion of the zodiac is so intense. Watch how intense this Mercury retrograde is going to be. And for those of you that have planets, like I said before, in Taurus, this will be a more intense, maybe more frustrating Mercury retrograde than most of the time. Now, traveling. So many people have delayed their travel plans for 2 years. And people are going to be getting out for the summer now. So expect great delays from enormous airline traffic. And if fuel's going up, then there's a possibility the prices of airline tickets and any means of transportation will be more expensive. So make your plans now. Know that it's going to be very hectic traveling. But you know, when Mercury's retrograde, because it is a time to reflect, to review, to reassess, regroup, it is a nice time to go on vacation. Just getting there is a big hassle. So it's time to kind of lay low and to contemplate the past so that you can make things more powerful to move forward in the future when Mercury is direct again. So it's a time of reflection. I think laying on a beach or taking it easy in a beautiful hotel or in the mountains, wherever your favorite place to vacation is a wonderful time for you to go relax. Remember, I say Mercury retrograde has everything to do with words that start with R-E. Review, reflect, relax. Just reorganize your life. It's a time to go back and reassess things because it's not a time to make new plans to forge forward, but it is a time to contemplate where you're going to be headed in the future. This gives you more power when it's time to move forward. Remember, this is what astrology is. It's about timing, knowing when the best time is to do something. So this Mercury retrograde, it will be a time to recalibrate our lives in so many ways, especially when it deals with things such as business and money, how you're going to make your plans for the next jumpstart of business. In Taurus, now another thing that Taurus does rule is it deals with the earth, things that grow, beauty, flowers. It would be a great time for gardening. For those of you that love to garden, I don't know anyone that doesn't have a lot of Taurus planets that love to work with plants and gardening and flowers. So the world will be just so beautiful with flowers, blooms. I mean, appreciate this world while you can. It is a beautiful, beautiful world with everything in bloom. And furthermore, this is the month of May. Remember, May brings May flowers, it's always said. So relish in the beauty, because it will be. And I know that it's time to definitely take care of yourself and relax. And during this time, refrain from any anger angry outbursts because people will be losing their heads. They will be over the top, especially when we get into the time that it stations at that 2-degree point, which is exactly on a goal, the most difficult. It actually deals with addictions, problems. Just take it easy. Don't let this energy ruin your peace, because if you let it, it will. So another thing is, watch how the markets swing up and down during this time. And it's going to be constantly changing. The finances, people think, oh, it's in the down period, oh, it's going to come back. It's going to be a roller coaster ride for a while. It will. Too many people have money invested in the markets, and they are pulling in and out like crazy. So don't expect it to stay down or to stay up. It's going to be a ride. So this is pretty much what I wanted to prepare everyone for. Realize that this Mercury retrograde is a time to pull back, and realize you must be very, very clear in what you're trying to express to the people around you, because it's a time when people are going to miscommunicate, misunderstand, and there'll be confusion in communications, a lot of confusion. So please be aware of this, take caution, get through it, use it for what it's good for, to reflect and review on everything that's going on in your life. And this will be a good time for you. Make it that. So with that, I'd like to close. If you would like more information on me, if you want to study with me, don't forget, we have the new classes starting in July, and I can't wait to see you in the beginning class of Vedic Astrology, University of Vedic Astrology. Remember to check out that website, and remember to look for all the new classes and exciting things that I'm going to be bringing about in the month of June and July. Thank you.